Today's guest, we've got Gary Gordon on from Gary Gordon Lighting. Really appreciate you coming on today.
I'm really glad to be here. Thanks, Devin.
So, when I think of lighting, I think of, some lighting fixtures, some light bulbs these days, LEDs, but there's so much more that goes into it, right? You like to say that you're a lighting designer who trained in architecture. Tell me a little bit about the lighting industry.
The lighting industry is changing rapidly right now because the technology, first, the technology is changing rapidly, and second, research into human health and how lighting affects human health is changing rapidly. So there are two components to keep on top of at the same time. Lighting is not anymore like it was when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, which lasted until not so long ago. Now, there are a ton of things to think about in order to just put that light fixture with an LED bulb at the ceiling.
That's interesting, right? I never really thought of human health behind lighting, but my mom always told me growing up, don't read in the dark, you're gonna hurt your eyes. I'm not sure if that's a fable or if that's a true thing, but how is lighting affecting our health?
I believe not reading in the dark is a fable, but light has an enormous effect on the body's circadian rhythm. Strong, bright light in the morning, like the sun provides, stimulates the body to do its work. And then in the evening, dim, lower level light allows melatonin to be produced, so the body naturally falls asleep.
That's interesting stuff. Now, I'm imagining that you're doing these lighting designs in many different types of spaces, whether it be somebody's personal home, an office setting. This is all awesome research that goes into those design. When did people start thinking about this rather than just saying what looks nice?
People started to think about light and health, I would say at least 10 or 15 years ago, but there has been a lot of change in the results of the research as people started investigating other things. And now we've gotten to a point where light fixtures can influence how we feel about ourselves during the day and how we perform and how we sleep.
Wow. So let me ask you a question. When you're brought into a project and you have a blank canvas in front of you, no one's been spec'd out for lighting. You've got, a lot of the control in what direction this is moving in. What are some of the things you think through, and how do you get through that process?
It's not a linear process. It's more of a circular process because we bump into other things while we're thinking about the first thing. But I'd say the most important step to take is to decide what you want to light first, and then work from where the light lands back to where the light needs to come from. So selecting the light fixture is the last step in the process. We decide or we discover what the activities are, where people will be, and what kind of light we need in order to target those activities for different times of the day, for different uses. An art gallery is not the same thing as a church, but it's similar to a retail store. The church isn't similar to a building lobby, but it's similar to a theater in some ways. So we pull from other projects where we've solved similar problems and start to think about the unique aspects of the project that we're working on at hand.
Now, are your projects, in the New York region? Are you working across the United States, across the world? Where do you find your work?
Fortunately, we work all over the world.
That's incredible. What's the most interesting lighting project you've been involved with?
They're all interesting. The most interesting, I don't know. I have to say the ones we're working on now, because as soon as the lighting problem is solved, I'm intrigued by solving the problems. So an art gallery that we're working on in the Chelsea Art District in Manhattan is intriguing me. A private art collection for and residence for an art gallery owner, different than the gallery that we're working on, is intriguing to me. The School of Architecture at the University of Buffalo is intriguing to me because we're working as architects to bring light to architects. And it's a lot of fun to be working for that kind of audience. So all of our projects, fortunately, are interesting. If we just did hotels all the time, I would have gotten bored a long time ago.
Yes, I'm sure you would have. Um, you know, Obviously I'm in the construction industry, right? And a lot of times when it comes to site lighting, there are certain requirements that the local municipalities hold you to, right? And
Yes.
you hear words like foot candles and lumens, and can you explain to me what exactly is a foot candle?
A foot candle is the amount of light that's received from one candle on a 1 foot square surface, 1 foot away. And of course, a foot was an English king's foot. So and a candle is got no relation to the current technology. So we're talking about an outmoded way of measuring light. However, it's still the standard today. So a foot candle is the amount of light that's received on the surface. A lumen is the amount of light that's projected by a light source.
And it's really important stuff because when you're designing a building, um, especially on the exterior, you can't just go light up your building any which way you want, and you can't let it just be dark, right? There's certain requirements based on local zoning codes that goes into the lighting of a building. And I don't think, when you're driving down the road and you see something lit up, people aren't really realizing that there's really a means and methods to this. This isn't just let's throw some light bulbs in there and some lighting out there.
No, exterior site lighting is intricate because you want to be able to read architectural features on a building, but not have the building be a distraction to drivers in an oncoming direction. You want to enhance, in addition to a building, the plants and trees that might be around it. And give people a sense of safety and comfort where they need to walk.
Now, we spoke earlier about lighting affecting the human health, right? I'm assuming that lighting will affect the health of animals and maybe the way animals react to certain lights. Can you touch on that a little bit for me?
Very much so. All us mammals are affected by the quantity of light. The light should be a low level after the sun sets, so that all animals' bodies are producing melatonin and they can go to sleep at their regular time. And in the morning, absent the sun, a bright light helps to stimulate people and animals and get them started with their day.
So oftentimes as a general contractor, I receive drawings. There's most times a spec book with those drawings. There are some lighting fixtures spec'd out. There are things that are designed by the MEP engineer. When is it valuable for me as a GC or a developer to bring you in to take a look at that? And do other MEP engineers see you as a threat?
Most of them see us as a relief because they don't have the time to investigate all of the new technology and all of the possible applications of that technology. It's the application of the technology that's really critical. We get brought in by developers in the very beginning of a project when the architect and interior designer are halfway through their work. General contractors bring us in all the time when they look at the plans and know that, this is not going to deliver what the client program asks for.
And do you think there's more of an upfront cost to bring you in, but it's actually, you might be saving money in the long run because you're spending it on the front end?
Every time there's a savings, because we put light where it's needed, not shine it indiscriminately everywhere. There's a cost savings to the number of fixtures that are used, the number of points that an electrical contractor needs to wire for. Also, we use light fixtures that are very effective in putting light out. Not every 10-watt LED puts out the same amount of light. So we use those fixtures that put out a great amount of light while making sure that the glare is low and not disturbing to people. And in the end, you end up saving money by using fewer fixtures because the ones that we're using are more effective.
So you could be using fewer fixtures that are more effective, and then just you know, the ongoing usage of those lights over many years. I'm sure there's a significant savings there.
There is, very much so. See, you already know.
I do. You know, it's interesting because it's different. It's not, you know, it's so critical in the entire design construction industry, but it's definitely something that I think is overlooked a lot of times. And I think, well, I'm glad I've brought you onto this show to discuss it and to highlight, you know, the importance of it, and how there's a lot that goes into it.
There's another savings to be realized when bringing us on during construction, because we have personal relationships with almost all of the lighting factories in America and some in Europe. And we can get fixtures to the job site when they're needed. So time isn't lost and money isn't lost with people standing around waiting for light fixtures to arrive.
That's great to know. And that's why you're in my Rolodex, because I'll certainly be calling you. If somebody wants to reach out to Gary Gordon, where can they find you? Are you on social media? Tell us how.
They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find us on our website, which is garygordon.com, GARYGORDON.com. And they can call our phone number, 212-627-5200, and we'll be happy to help.
Awesome, Gary. I really appreciate you coming on the show. This has been great. Until next time, take care.
You as well, Devin. It's been great to talk with you.
Thank you.